If you've ever stood in front of the mirror and felt like your hair just won't cooperate, it lays flat, it feels thin, and no matter what you try, it never looks quite right. You're not alone. And I'm here to tell you, there is nothing wrong with your hair, you just haven't been shown the right way to bring out its best. In our last video, we talked about 4 essential steps that every woman with fine, thin hair should know, and the response was overwhelming. Thank you for that, but so many of you asked, what else can I do to make my hair look fuller, softer, and more flattering without cutting it? So today, we're going deeper. I'm going to show you 5 styling techniques that will completely change the way your hair looks and feels. No need for a new haircut. No need for complicated products. Just a smarter, kinder way to style the hair you already have. And what's even better? These tips don't just help with volume. They help protect your hair from the breakage and stress that's so common with aging, fragile strands. So whether your hair is short, medium, or long, whether you style it every day or only once in a while, these techniques will give you a foundation of volume, softness, and control without stiffness, without greasiness, and definitely without frustration. Let's get into it. Your hair deserves this. Let's start with the most important thing you do right after washing your hair. And it's something that seems so simple, yet most of us get it wrong without even knowing it. The moment you step out of the shower, what you do next will decide whether your hair looks light and full or limp and flat for the rest of the day. So here's the first secret. Before you even reach for your products, take a moment to towel dry your hair. But not just any towel drying. We're talking about even dampness, not soaking wet in some areas and dry in others. Because if one side is dripping and the other is halfway dry, your products won't spread evenly. And that, right there, is the beginning of an uneven, frustrating style. Once your hair feels evenly damp, it's time to detangle. But here's where many women go wrong. They start brushing straight from the roots down. And I get it. That's what we've always done. But if you start from the top and there's a knot at the bottom, all you're doing is tightening that knot, pulling, and snapping fragile strands. So instead, start at the ends. Gently work your way up. Your hair will thank you, especially if it's thin, fine, or prone to breakage. Now we're ready for product. And the first one is a non-negotiable: heat protectant. Fine hair is naturally more delicate, which means every bit of heat from your blow dryer or styling tools can cause more damage than you think. So spray your heat protectant from the mid-shaft to the ends, not the roots. We're protecting the areas that need it most. Then take your comb, start at the middle lengths, and distribute the product evenly. You don't need to drench your hair, just make sure each strand gets a light, even coat. Now comes the game changer: volumizing product. You might already be using a volumizer, but let me ask you, are you using enough? Most women with fine hair are afraid to overdo it, so they use just a tiny bit. They feel the product, but they never get the results. And then they assume the product just doesn't work. Here's the truth. When it comes to volumizer, you usually need more than you think, especially at the roots. That's the area that flattens first. That's where lift begins. Take a generous amount, apply it directly at the crown, then work a smaller amount through the sides. You don't need volume there. In fact, too much can make your hair puff out in all the wrong places. The goal is balance, lift at the top, soft framing at the sides, a youthful, flattering shape around the face, and no matter what product you use, comb it through gently. Products should support your hair, not weigh it down, not make it greasy, and definitely not make it stiff. When done right, this quiet little post-shower ritual lays the foundation for everything that follows. More volume, better control, and less breakage. It's not about using more products, it's about using the right ones, in the right places, in the right way. Because with fine hair, every little step matters. But when you treat it with a little more thought, a little more care, and a little more knowledge, it responds beautifully. Now that your hair is prepped properly, we're ready for the next step. And this one will completely change the way your hair dries and how it moves for the rest of the day. Let's talk about how to blow dry for volume, not damage. Now that your hair is prepped and your products are in all the right places, it's time to dry your hair. But not just to get it dry. We're going to dry it with intention, with care and with volume in mind. Because blow drying isn't just a mechanical step in your routine, it's a chance to shape your style, to build volume exactly where you want it. And just as importantly, to avoid heat damage, which fine hair is especially vulnerable to. So let's start with a truth. Many women don't realize your blow dryer can either be your best friend or your hair's worst enemy, and the difference comes down to two things: heat level and technique. First, use medium heat. You don't need scorching hot air to dry your hair quickly. In fact, with the right dryer, medium heat will still do the job without frying your strands. If your dryer has a cool setting or alternating hot-cold option, even better. Alternating between warm and cool air can help reduce frizz and help lock in the shape you're creating without over-drying the cuticle. Now here's where most people go wrong. They blast their hair from every angle, especially from underneath. This creates frizz, lifts the cuticle in the wrong direction, and forces the hair to puff out instead of laying smoothly with volume. So what should you do? Always direct the airflow down the hair shaft, from roots to ends. This seals the cuticle, adds shine, and keeps hair looking healthy, even as you build volume. Let's talk about sectioning. Instead of drying your whole head all at once, start at the top crown area. This is your volume zone. Use your fingers to lift the hair at the roots and aim the dryer directly at the root area from above. Use a round brush or your fingers to gently lift the roots as you dry. No need to pull or stretch. Just a gentle lift and airflow aimed downward will encourage the hair to lift naturally. Once the crown area is about 50% dry, move to the sides. And here's something important. You don't want volume on the sides, especially if you have a round or wider face shape. Too much puff on the sides can actually make your face look fuller in a way you may not want. So instead, smooth the sides by gently pulling the hair downward with your brush. Direct the airflow down and avoid curling the brush under. Let the brush guide the hair straight, with just the slightest bend at the ends. This keeps the silhouette sleek along the face, while allowing the volume at the top to really shine. Now for the back of the head. It's easy to ignore this part, but it matters. Use your round brush or fingers to lift the hair at the crown toward the back. Again, aim the airflow from above and keep the motion steady. If your hair tends to fall flat quickly, finish off each section with a blast of cool air. This cold shot sets the style in place. It helps your roots hold the lift you just created, and it's far healthier for your hair than setting spray or extra heat. And here's a gentle reminder. Your blow dryer shouldn't sound like a jet engine. If it's too loud, too hot, or takes too long, consider upgrading. Modern dryers are quieter, more efficient, and less damaging. Your hair and your ears will appreciate the difference. By the time you're done drying, you should already start to see a difference. The crown should look lifted, the sides should frame your face softly, and the hair should feel light, not weighed down or sticky. And most importantly, it should still move, because true volume isn't stiff. It's soft, touchable, and full of life. So now that we've dried your hair the right way, let's move on to the next step, where we shape and place that volume even more precisely by controlling the sides and the back for the perfect silhouette. Now that you've prepped your hair and blow-dried it the right way, you've created the foundation of lift and softness. But if you stop here, you might still feel something's just not quite right. The top might have volume, but the sides and the back, they can easily throw everything off if they're not managed carefully. This is one of the biggest styling mistakes women with fine hair make. We spend all our effort on the crown and forget how much impact the sides and the back have on the final shape. Because here's the truth. Volume in the wrong place can actually make your hair look thinner. If the sides puff out or bend too much, they widen your silhouette, which draws attention away from the lift at the crown. And instead of looking full and youthful, you may end up with a style that feels round, bulky, or even dated. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to soften the sides, flatten the back just slightly, and use just enough structure to bring the focus back where it belongs, on the top of your head. Start by taking a round brush, nothing too large, something easy to control, and section out the side of your hair starting near the temple. Rather than rolling the brush under like a curler, you're going to gently pull the hair straight down, following the shape of your cheekbone. The brush itself will still give a slight bend. That's okay. But we don't want to create a heavy curve, just enough to keep the hair soft and close to the face. Think sleek, not stiff. Flowing, not ballooned. Now take your blow dryer. Aim it downward and gently brush through that section from root to end, smoothing as you go. If you like, finish with a light cool shot to lock in that shape. Repeat the same motion on the other side. Use your fingers afterward to loosen the strands and check symmetry. What you're looking for is softness along your jawline, that gentle frame that brings light to your features, not weight. Now, let's talk about the back. This part often gets ignored simply because we can't see it, but everyone else does. So let's give it a little love. Reach to the back crown section and pull the hair slightly upward and back with your round brush. As you blow dry, aim the airflow downward from above, following the natural flow of your hair. The goal here isn't to create a bump, it's to smooth and guide the volume up and out, not flat against your neck. If your hair tends to bend or flip at the ends in the back, that's okay. Just guide it gently with the brush, keeping everything subtle and controlled. A little movement is beautiful. Too much bend, though, will make your hair look bulky from behind and take away from that elegant lift on top. Here's a helpful visual. Imagine a soft triangle shape from the crown down toward your shoulders. The top is the widest part, the crown. The sides taper in, and the back flows downward in a gentle slope. That's the silhouette we're aiming for. It gives lift without puff, shape without stiffness, and structure without sacrificing softness. If you've ever felt like your haircut is technically good, but somehow not flattering, it's often because of this, uncontrolled volume in the wrong areas. But now that you're smoothing the sides, shaping the back, and balancing everything with purpose, you'll start to notice how different your hair behaves. It will fall more naturally, feel more youthful, and actually last longer throughout the day because everything is working in harmony. Take a moment, run your fingers through your hair, feel the difference. This isn't just about what you see in the mirror. It's about how your hair moves, how it frames you, and how confidently you carry yourself. So now that the structure is set, let's move on to the final styling magic, where we lift and lock the front and add that signature soft frame that makes thin hair look beautifully full. Let's talk about how to create more volume on top and more control in the front. Now that the sides are softened and the back is balanced, it's time to bring the whole look together, right at the front and crown. Because let's be honest, no matter how great your hair looks in the back, if the front doesn't feel right, the whole style can feel off. And with thin, fine hair, this area is especially tricky. Sometimes it falls too flat, giving your face a tired, dragged-down look. Other times, it poofs out in the wrong direction. Or worse, it just won't stay where you want it. But this step is where we bring your style to life. With lift at the crown and control in the front, your hair becomes the frame that brightens your whole expression. So let's take this one section at a time. Start with the crown area, right at the top of your head. This is where volume makes the biggest visual impact. So here's what we're going to do. Using your round brush or your fingers, lift the hair upward and slightly back. But here's the trick. Instead of lifting it in the same direction you part your hair, you're going to lift it the opposite way. Why? Because when you style hair against its natural part, you create tension at the roots. That tension gives you lift without needing heavy products or teasing. It's a simple, gentle way to build real volume. So lift that section up, use your dryer on medium heat, aim the airflow down the shaft while holding it in place for a few seconds, then finish with a blast of cool air to lock it in. When you let the section fall back into place, you'll see it naturally lifts away from the scalp. It's subtle, but that softness and bounce at the top makes your entire face look lighter and more open. Now let's move to the front framing pieces. This area can either soften your features or fight against them. So the goal here is control, not stiffness. We want just enough shape to guide the hair, but we still want movement. Start by taking the section right around your bangs or side-swept fringe. Now instead of curling it under with the brush, we're going to do something called non-directional blow drying. What does that mean? It simply means you're going to dry the section in multiple directions. Forward, sideways, and even slightly backward. By doing this, you confuse the root memory just enough to keep the hair from falling flat, and instead of sticking straight to one side, it gains soft volume and flexible hold, like a gentle curtain that frames your face instead of clinging to it. Now take your fingers, run them gently through the front, and lift just a bit at the root as you do. This encourages natural separation and shape, and it gives you control without needing a lot of product. If you find your fringe or front layers always fall into your eyes, try lifting them up and back while using the cool shot. This will train the hair to stay off your face while still looking soft and natural. And here's a little bonus. If you like using styling wax, take just a tiny dab of matte wax, warm it between your hands, and start from the back, working forward. Use what's left on your fingertips to lightly shape the front, not to stiffen it, but just to guide it gently where you want it to fall. That's the secret to front control. It's not about freezing it in place. It's about guiding it and letting it move gracefully throughout the day. And when you combine this with the lift at the crown, you get a look that's elegant, effortless, and completely flattering. So now you've built a strong, lightweight foundation. You've lifted the top, framed the face, and softened the sides. But there's one more step, and it might be the most important of all because no matter how good your hair looks now, it needs to feel flexible, touchable, and like you. Let's finish this with a technique that brings it all together, where you let your hands do the styling and your personality shines through. Let's talk about styling with your fingers and finishing with freedom. You've done the prep. You've protected your hair. You've blow-dried it with purpose. You've lifted the crown. You've softened the sides. You've shaped the front. Now there's just one thing left to do. And it's probably the step that most people skip or rush or completely misunderstand. It's the finishing touch. The way you take all the structure you've created and turn it into something that feels natural, effortless, and truly yours. And the best way to do that is with your hands. Yes, your fingers are your best styling tool, not just because they're gentle, but because they let you shape your hair intuitively in a way no brush or comb ever could. So here's what you do. Stand in front of the mirror, take a deep breath, and just touch your hair. Not in a frantic, fix-it way, but in a curious, playful, almost creative way. Run your fingers gently through the sides, loosen the crown just a little more, sweep the front back, then let a few pieces fall forward again. This is not about perfection. This is about energy, movement, freedom. Because volume isn't just about how much hair stands up, it's about how the hair lives on your head, how it responds to your gestures, how it moves when you turn or smile. Now, if you want a bit more control, let's add a finishing product, but let's do it smartly. Choose a matte wax or a lightweight styling cream. Avoid shine or stiffness. We want soft hold, not a helmet. Here's the trick. Take a small amount, really just a pea-sized dab. Warm it between your palms until it's completely melted. Then apply starting at the back of your head. Why? Because the back can absorb more product, and by the time you get to the front, you'll only have a light residue left on your fingers, just enough to shape without overwhelming. Use your fingertips to define little sections. Maybe a soft piece near the cheekbone, maybe a little lift at the temple, maybe a gentle tuck behind one ear. And remember, if it doesn't feel right, mess it up. then start again. You have the foundation now. You can reshape it with ease, without losing structure, without creating frizz, and without worrying about ruining anything. That's the beauty of this method. It gives you control, but also flexibility, so you can style your hair in the morning and reshape it with your hands in the afternoon, and it still looks fresh, full, and flattering. Now, if you're someone who has extremely fine hair, or you have visible thinning around the hairline or crown, there's one more tool you might love: hair-building fibers. These are ultra-fine powders that cling to your strands and scalp. They blend seamlessly, especially along part lines or sparse areas. They don't flake, they don't smear, and they wash out easily. Sprinkle a bit at the roots, pat gently, and you're done. Suddenly, your hairline looks thicker, your crown looks fuller, and no one, not even you, will notice where the fibers are. They just become your hair. So now, with all 5 techniques complete, let's look at what you've really done. You didn't just style your hair. You transformed the way it responds. You respected its texture. You worked with it, not against it. You built volume where it matters, softness where it flatters, and movement where it lifts the spirit. That's what beautiful hair is about. Not fighting age, not chasing youth, but expressing who you are, beautifully, through every strand. So give yourself a moment. Touch your hair again. Smile at your reflection. And know that this isn't just about looking good. It's about feeling light, free, and confident in your own skin, because you don't need more hair to feel like more of yourself. You just need to understand what your hair needs. And now, you do. So here you are. You've made it through each step. You've taken the time to understand your hair, not as a problem to fix, but as something worth learning, worth softening, worth loving. And I want you to take a moment right now, not just to look at your reflection, but to truly see yourself. Because this was never just about styling tips. This was about giving you back the confidence that thin hair may have slowly taken from you over time. This was about showing you that you don't need a different haircut, or more product, or more hair. You just needed the right approach, the right touch, the right care. And now you have it. From how you dry your roots, to how you shape the sides, to how you guide the front gently with your fingers. You've created something that's more than just a look. You've created a feeling, lightness, softness, and presence. Your hair doesn't have to be thick to feel alive. It just needs to be styled with intention. And now, every time you run your hands through it, you'll feel not just volume, but ownership. This is your crown. It's not about hiding or fixing. It's about revealing what's always been beautiful. And if you ever forget these steps, don't worry, you can come back. Play this again and let it guide you gently back to yourself. And if you know someone else who's quietly struggling with their hair, share this with them, because no woman deserves to feel defeated in front of the mirror. Thank you for being here. Thank you for trusting your hair, maybe for the first time in a while. And I hope, truly, that you feel not just more beautiful, but more you.